The Duchess of Duplicity and her spare husband are on their faux royal tour in the last gasp at staying relevant. They're over in Australia. Meghan's doing what she does best, making everything about herself. Everything. Everything relates to her. But back to me. Enough about me. What do you think of me? While speaking to youth at a mental health organization, she complained about her struggles.
For now 10 years, every day for 10 years, I've been bullied and attacked. And I was the most trolled person in the entire world. Man or woman. And I'm still here.
I can't. Honestly, I just can't. Get over yourself. There's more. Here's the kind of wisdom Markle offered on mental health in the form of a quote she claims to look at every single day.
And a friend of mine gave me a little bag that had a quote on it that I put on. And I look at it every single day. And I would share it with you because sometimes I can imagine as you talk about depression or anxiety or the willingness or lack of appetite to even want to get out of bed or keep going, that this is the quote that it says, and I think it's important that you remember it, as I try to as well. My wish for you is that you continue to be who and how you are, to astonish a mean world with your acts of kindness, and to allow humor to lighten the burden of your tender heart. And that's my wish for all of you as well. And you can do it. You can do it together. And I'm not going to say it's easy. I will personally tell you it is not easy. But you can do it.
Okay. Her tender heart. Honestly, she is the meanest person to cross the threshold at Buckingham Palace in a couple hundred years. And that's saying something. There's no tender heart. Her father was near death and she ignored him and kept him away from her wedding, and he still hasn't met his grandchildren. So I don't want to be lectured to about her tender heart. It's not in there. It's a heart of stone. She separated her husband from his entire family, from his cancer-stricken grandmother, the Queen, from his cancer-stricken father, now the King. She has managed to remove him from all that made him sound and supported for the entirety of his life to a new country that has absolutely no use for him. None whatsoever. We don't care about royalty over here. They're mildly interesting. We look at their funny outfits. You know, like, we care about them because we care about history. We don't care about them like we're going to get down on a knee and fawn over them the way the British people, some faction of them would. So he's unplugged the one thing that made him electric. And he's stuck on some Montecito ranch trying to figure out how to market another polo documentary that no one wants to see. He is rich and out of touch and beyond privileged, just like his rich bitch wife, who wants only for us to feel sorry for her and for them. I mean, like, the nonsense about what she's pulling over there is ridiculous. And at one point she said to them, okay, that industry, that billion-dollar industry, she's talking about the press, that is completely anchored and predicated on cruelty to get clicks, that's not going to change. So you have to be stronger than that. Okay, first of all, the answer when you see somebody who is suffering with depression or anxiety is not to just say, be stronger. And as you guys know, I'm tough. I'm pretty tough when it comes to these things. I wouldn't look at a suffering person and just say, be stronger. That's not how it works. Nor, again, is their problem the mean press. She's working out her own shit on a bunch of stressed out young people. This is a youth organization for mental health. And she's got to work out her issues with the Daily Mail on them. She's been suing them left and right in the courts. Every time she gets in front of a camera, she raises this because she wants us to know she was allegedly the most trolled person in the world in 2019. Well, you know what, bitch? I might have been the most trolled person in 2018. I'm fine. Stop. There are a lot of us who go through the disgusting media washing machine that whips you around and pulls you and twists you and makes you feel disoriented because they say so many negative things about you. Most of us take it like a man or a woman and kind of move on with our lives instead of reminding everybody at every turn, most trolled person, male or female. It's like, think of like the bad, like Michael Jackson. Everybody thinks he's a pedophile. He's not around to defend himself anymore. But like, I'm going to guess that was worse trolling than you didn't get along with Kate. Like, who does she think she's kidding? It's like, the complete denial of the fact that she made that bed. She made that bed. I went back and just reminded myself of some of the bullying allegations against her. The reporting from Valentine Lowe, who was like the biographer of hers, is really telling. She threatened to sue him. Her people threatened to sue him. They never filed suit. Guess why? Guess why? Don't you think she's very litigious? Don't you think she would have filed suit if Valentine Lowe had been this liar who was just smearing her with absolutely no basis? What about our friend Dan Wooten? Where's the lawsuit against him? He's blown the lid off of multiple Meghan Markle scandals, and what a bully she is, and how nasty she was to Princess Kate, how she made Kate cry. She denied it. Here's a couple. Her personal assistant, Megyn's, left when she first joined the royal family 6 months after the royal wedding, quit. A week later, the assistant was named in another paper as Melissa Tuabti. Megyn put a lot of demands on her, and it ended up with this gal, Melissa, in tears, a source told him. She was not the first member of staff to leave, but before her, there was another PA, personal assistant, a young woman already employed by the palace. She did not stay long after Megyn arrived. The Duchess could be sharp with those she felt were letting her down. One former staff member said, I had unpleasant experiences with her. I would definitely say humiliated. Another source claimed that Samantha Cohen, who was beloved within the palace, had done many roles, including for the Queen. She could solve anything. She could plan anything. So they gave her their most competent employee, and she became the couple's private secretary. She got bullied by Meghan Markle. They treated her terribly, he reports. This is a quote. Nothing was ever good enough. It was, she doesn't understand. She's failing. In fact, the source said Cohen was a saint and the best organizer of royal tours that they had known. There's more from Valentine Lowe's book. A senior aide discreetly raised with the couple the difficulties caused by Meghan's treatment of staff. This was in late 2017 after the engagement. She didn't even wait until the wedding was secure to start bullying everybody around her. She was said to have replied, it's not my job to coddle people. Okay, I'm not a coddler either, but I work in media. You're trying to join the royal family. You're going to have to be on eggshells. Everyone knows that. You can't run around saying, it's not my job to coddle people. I'm an American. I'm going to do it my way. That makes people dislike you, sister. And you can't then run to the media and say, oh, most trolled person. You brought it upon yourself. And person after person within the royal family and the household tried to warn you this would happen because the people you're bullying have these things called mouths and sources of their own who are dying to hear from them for any royal tidbit. And you assumed the risk that they wouldn't say anything about you. But guess what? They did. And now we all know. Megyn spoke particularly harshly at a meeting to a young female member of the team in front of her colleagues. After Megyn had pulled to shreds a plan this person had drawn up, the woman told Megyn that it was going to be hard to implement a new plan. Don't worry, Megyn told her. If there was literally anyone else I could ask to do this, I'd be asking them instead of you. Later, Prince William, who had heard she was a bitch, that's my term, came to find the woman she had bullied. I hope you're okay, he told her. You're doing a really good job. She promptly burst into tears. This woman trying to keep it together, but any sign of empathy, which Prince William was the only one to show her, brought her to tears. Haven't you been there? It's one thing for you to feel sorry for you when somebody else feels sorry for you. That's the thing that pushes you over the edge on the tears. Once when Megyn felt she had been let down, yet again, everyone disappoints Megyn over an issue that was worrying her. She rang repeatedly when the staffer was out for dinner on a Friday night. Every 10 minutes, I had to go outside to be screamed at by her and Harry, says this employee. It was, I can't believe you've done this. You've let me down. What were you thinking? It went on for hours. Then this guy, Jason Knopf, who was originally made like the press representative for all four of them, the Fab Four, back when they were getting along and the press was saying nothing but great things about her. He wrote an email in October of, I can't figure out the year here, to his immediate boss, Simon Case, who worked for Prince William, saying he had spoken to the head of HR for the palace about, quote, some very serious problems concerning Meghan's behavior. Writing, quote, I'm very concerned that the Duchess was able to bully 2 PAs out of the household in the past year. The Duchess seems intent on always having someone in her sights. She is bullying name withheld, and seeking to undermine her confidence. We've had report after report from people who have witnessed unacceptable behavior toward X, despite the universal views from her colleagues that she is a leading talent within the household who's delivering first-rate work. As one source said, there were a lot of broken people, young women who were broken by their behavior. She brought Harry down with her. He sees himself as the protector now. He's going to avenge his mother's death by being tough on anybody who's mean to Meghan. So he's turned into an absolute nightmare too. One member of the staff said, was, quote, completely destroyed by this pair. She regularly belittled people, reported the Daily Mail. They, again, here in an article citing Chief of Staff Josh Kettler, he had left his role after only 3 months. And the Daily Mail source, citing a source who was actually in the Hollywood Reporter, so it's a report on a report, quote, everyone is terrified of Meghan. She belittles people. She doesn't take advice. They're both poor decision makers. They change their minds frequently. Harry is a very, very charming person, no airs, but he's very much an enabler. And she is just terrible. Another source, she's absolutely relentless. She marches around like a dictator in high heels, fuming and barking orders. I've watched her reduce grown men to tears. Two sources say a colleague with ties to Archetypes, that her ridiculous Spotify podcast all about women and empowering women, took a leave of absence after working on 3 episodes and then left Gimlet, the producer of the podcast series, altogether. Several others described taking extended breaks from work to escape scrutiny, exiting their job altogether, or undergoing long-term therapy after working with her. Quote, I think if Meghan acknowledged her own shortcomings or personal contributions to situations rather than staying trapped in a victim narrative, her perception might be better. Correct. She is trapped in a victim narrative. This is the soundbite I referenced earlier in the show, where she went on one of these world tours with Harry shortly after they were married. And the ITV guy was like, how's it going? And this is how she handled it.
Yeah, well, I guess, and also thank you for asking, because not many people have asked if I'm okay.
Because we don't actually give a shit. You have more privilege than anyone else on earth, literally, except for about 5 people. We assume that things are great. And if they're not great, it's between you and your therapist. It's not for you to complain to the press about non-stop. Honestly, and Harry is just as bad with that stuff I was quoting to you earlier. His mental health messaging, you should not be taking mental health advice from Prince Harry or from her. She was suicidal just a couple years ago. He is describing himself, as I pointed out to you moments ago, as in the fetal position. He said recently in the fetal position, and saying now there's a lot in the world leaving us feeling anxious, stressed, helpless, powerless, and completely overwhelmed. Then he goes on, loss is disorienting at any age. Grief does not disappear because we ignore it. Well, actually, ignoring it may not be such a bad idea, to be honest, Harry. Rumination is what really causes ongoing depression, going over your problems nonstop over and over and over again. But anyway, experiencing that as a kid while in a goldfish bowl under constant surveillance, yes, that will have its challenges. And without purpose, it can break you. There have been many times when I have felt overwhelmed, where I felt lost, betrayed, or completely powerless. Times when the pressure externally and internally felt constant. I mean, you grew up in a palace, multiple palaces, Buckingham Palace, Kensington Palace. I'm missing some of the palaces. Your every need was taken care of times 20. I was just talking with somebody about this. Catherine Schwarzenegger, who's married to Chris Pratt. You remember Jack Carr was here yesterday. He's great. And Chris Pratt is starring in his series. So then I was doing a deep dive on Chris Pratt online. He's married to Catherine Schwarzenegger. She started a podcast. She had her dad on the podcast, Arnold. And she said something like, well, you were so good. You made sure that we grew up normal. And Arnold Schwarzenegger was like, hold on. You did not grow up normal. And she was like, oh, well, no, I just mean, he was like, no, you did not grow up normal. Now that's a good father. Not only was their dad Arnold Schwarzenegger, their mother's Maria Shriver. She's a Kennedy. You can do your best to raise normal kids while making sure they know that they are not normal. They have had an enormous privilege handed to them at every turn. They have vacation places that nobody ever vacations. They travel in ways and via means and nobody gets to. Their homes are multi-million dollar. They have connections to industries of enormous power. They have restaurant reservations nobody has. People smile at them greater and are nicer to them and tend to their every whim in a way that doesn't happen for quote unquote normal people. It's like, good for him. Good for Arnold Schwarzenegger. Someone needed to have that conversation with Prince Harry.
What if the story you're being told isn't the same story that actually happened? When people talk about revisionist history around Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, it's less about facts being completely false and more about which parts get emphasized and which parts quietly fade out. Public figures don't just live their lives, they shape narratives. And over time, those narratives can shift depending on audience, platform, or purpose. The word privileged gets used a lot, but it depends on how you define it. From one angle, access, status, global platform. From another, expectations, scrutiny, lack of privacy. What's interesting is how both realities can exist at the same time. And depending on which side someone focuses on, the entire story feels completely different. Accusations of hypocrisy usually come from perceived contradictions. Not necessarily what someone says, but how it compares to past actions, previous statements, public image. When those don't align, audiences start connecting dots, even if the full picture isn't visible. This kind of topic spreads because it taps into something people already feel: distrust of polished public images, curiosity about what's real vs presented. And once that idea is planted, that there's a gap between reality and narrative, people start reinterpreting everything through that lens. Zoom out. And this isn't just about them. It's about how modern storytelling works in the public eye. Everyone has a version of events. Media amplifies certain angles, audiences pick sides. The truth often sits somewhere in the middle, but that's usually the least viral version. So here's the real question. Are we watching people change their story over time, or just revealing different parts of it? Because depending on how you see it, this isn't just about two individuals, it's about how narratives are built in front of millions. What do you think? Evolution or contradiction? Drop your take below, and follow for more breakdowns like this.